All right, let's talk about blackjack. We've all had that feeling, right? You're at the table and it just feels like the universe is out to get you. But what if I told you the key to winning isn't really about luck or some kind of gut instinct? What if it's about something way more reliable? That's what we're going to dig into today. The big showdown between your feelings and the cold, hard math.
Oh, you know this feeling. I mean, you really know it. The dealer snaps a blackjack again, for the third time in a row. You hit your 16, and of course, you bust. It feels personal, doesn't it? Like the game is rigged. It's that exact moment where you just want to shove your chips in and say, I'm done.
So, what's really going on here? Is it just a string of bad luck? Is the dealer just on some kind of magical hot streak? Or is there something else happening? Could it be that your own brain is actually the one betraying you, pushing you to make calls based on pure emotion instead of, the actual odds?
It really all comes down to two different ways to play the game. On one side, you've got feeling. That's all your intuition, your fear, chasing streaks, all that stuff. And on the other side, you've got math. We're talking probability, discipline, and just pure calculated strategy. Every single time it's your turn, you're making a choice between one of these two camps.
Okay, so first up, let's get into why our brains get so easily tricked by this stuff. It's not because you're bad at blackjack, not at all. It's because we're basically hardwired to misunderstand what's really going on.
Now, you'd probably think the biggest trap is greed, right? Wanting to win big. But it's not. It's fear. More than anything, it's that paralyzing fear of busting. That feeling of, if I take one more card, I'm gonna go over. That one single emotion is responsible for more bad plays than probably anything else in the game.
All right, let's put you in the hot seat for a second. Picture this. You've got a hard 16, so no ace to help you out. And the dealer is showing a 7. Ugh, it's like the worst hand in blackjack, right? What is your gut screaming at you to do right now?
I'm guessing your gut, your intuition is just screaming, don't hit, stand, right? I mean, any card higher than a 5 and you're out. The risk just feels massive. The safe play feels like staying put and just praying the dealer goes bust. And that's the emotional play.
But here's the cold, hard math. When you stand on that 16, you're still probably going to lose. You just lose quietly. The dealer flips over an 18, takes your money, and you move on. Hitting feels super aggressive and risky, for sure. But basic strategy, which, by the way, is based on millions and millions of simulated hands, tells us that hitting actually gives you a better shot at winning in the long run, or, at the very least, it loses you less money over time. And what about those streaks, when the dealer just can't seem to lose? Our brains are pattern-finding machines, so we see that and think, something's up. But in the world of statistics, that's just called variance. It's just a totally normal random clumping of outcomes. It feels huge, it feels important, but mathematically, it means zero for what's going to happen on the very next hand. It's just statistical noise.
And this is maybe the most important thing to get. Blackjack math has no memory. That feeling that you're due for a win after a bunch of losses, that is one of the most expensive mistakes you can possibly make. The odds completely reset every single time a new hand is dealt.
Okay, so we've talked about our own brains. But what about the dealer? Well, here's a little secret for you. The dealer isn't really your opponent. Think of them more like a robot, a machine that just follows a very simple, very predictable set of rules. See, unlike you, the dealer has zero choice. They have to hit until they get to 17 or higher. They can't play it safe and stand on a 16. They can't get clever and double down. They are just following a script. And that predictability, that's their greatest weakness. And because of those strict rules, the dealer is forced to take cards in spots where we would never dream of it. And the result? They bust. A lot. Actually, dealers go over 21 about 28% of the time. We get so wrapped up in our own hand and our own risk that we completely forget that the dealer is often walking a much thinner tightrope than we are.
And that right there is the key. That's why basic strategy tells you to make that scary hit on a 15 or 16. You're not just playing your hand against a mystery card. You're playing against the dealer's very predictable, very high chance of going bust.
Which brings us to probably the single most important idea in playing smart blackjack. It's this shift in thinking. You stop worrying about winning this one hand, and you start thinking about making the play that wins you the most, or loses you the least, money over the long haul. We're talking thousands of hands. This concept is called expected value, or EV for short, and it really is a total game changer. You stop asking, am I going to win this hand? And instead you start asking, if I was in this exact spot 1,000 times and made the same play every time, would I come out ahead or behind? It's all about playing the long-term averages.
So here's a way to think about it. Probability asks, how often will this happen? But expected value asks, how much is this worth over time? You might have a play where you lose $1 70% of the time, but you win $3 the other 30% of the time. Now your probability of losing is high, sure, but the expected value is actually positive, because over the long run, those bigger wins more than make up for all the small, frequent losses.
And this is the big payoff. That safe play we talked about, standing on 16 because you're scared to bust, it feels so right in the moment, but over time, it is one of the costliest plays in the entire game. It just loses you more money consistently than making the aggressive hit. You're basically choosing to slowly bleed out your chips instead of taking a calculated risk that has a better long-term outcome.
This idea of expected value is also exactly why all those betting systems you hear about are doomed to fail. You know the one. You bet $5 and lose. So you bet 10 and lose. Then you bet 20. You've now risked $35 just for the chance to win back your original $5. The amount you're risking is skyrocketing, but the underlying math, the negative EV of each hand, hasn't changed one bit.
And that's the bottom line, isn't it? The odds don't change. Only the amount you're risking does. It doesn't matter if you bet $5 or 500, your chances of winning that next hand are identical. All those betting systems do is give you the illusion of control while actually just jacking up your risk. Okay, so what does all this mean for you, sitting there at the table? How do you actually use this stuff and play with some clarity instead of getting lost in all the emotional chaos? Well, the approach is pretty straightforward, even if it takes some serious discipline. Smart players, they stick to basic strategy, every single hand. They understand that losing streaks are just variance. It happens. They don't get emotional and start chasing their losses. And most importantly, they don't judge how they played based on one night. They look at the big picture. And look, the great news is you don't have to be some kind of mathematician to do this. All the heavy lifting has already been done. Computers have run millions, if not billions, of simulations to figure out the single best move in any situation. Your job isn't to do the math. Your job is just to have the discipline to trust it.
Because at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. The odds don't care how you feel. They don't care if you're on a hot streak, a cold streak, or if you've got a special feeling about the next card. The math is just the math. And once you really truly accept that, the whole game just clicks into place. And the only question left for you is, are you going to play with your feelings or are you going to play with the odds?